Yes. First Lady Kathryn Helgaas Burgum is in studio here this morning on our studios off I-29. Hi, Kathryn. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for coming in today.
I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to see you. Things are good?
Good, really good.
You're keeping that Doug guy out of trouble out in Bismarck there, best you can?
It's a tough job.
Yes. Well, we are so thankful you stopped by today, and you are doing some media appearances here over the next few days, previewing the big Recovery Reinvented event that's coming up out in Bismarck on November 12th. So, Kathryn, thanks very much for coming in and tell us a little bit about, I guess I'll just let you go on this one. Tell us about Recovery Reinvented, what you want people to know.
Well, it's an incredible event that I'm so fortunate to be a part of. The governor and I host it every year. He's also very passionate about my platform of helping to eliminate the stigma around the disease of addiction. And, it started as an idea, and it's grown to this really important event for people in our communities and across the state. It brings together people that are passionate around the disease of addiction, eliminating stigma, people that are in recovery, families that are impacted by someone struggling maybe in their family. And we have incredible speakers that join us for these events, both nationally and locally. This year we have Dr. Russ Mcdonald, who's the president of United Tribes Technical College, who has his own super inspiring story of recovery. He went to treatment 16 times, and
no kidding.
Now he has over 25 years of recovery. And so his story is very inspiring. We have this amazing, you're a sports guy, and we have this guy that we learned about who's a jewel for North Dakota. He is the University of Jamestown men's volleyball coach. So they're starting a men's volleyball program there. His name's Riley Salmon. He's an Olympic gold medal men's volleyball.
So he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, he actually pawned his gold medal in a pawn shop for drug money.
No kidding.
So his recovery story is amazing, and he's really committed to North Dakota, and we're excited to have him be a part of the program as well. But, we also have we have a couple of other speakers coming. This year we're focusing on eliminating stigma in the corporate environment, in the business world, because, people that come to work every day are somehow impacted, or they have struggles themselves. And so how can corporations create a supportive recovery environment? And that's what we're going to focus on. And then we also have an expo with a ton of resources for people. One of the things that happens is people reach out to me a lot and they say, we don't know where to turn. We've got someone we need to help, or I need help. So we have an expo called the Recovery Expo, which has many services are available within the state and beyond.
Other than that, there's really nothing to go to see here, right? I mean, what a great lineup of things. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you hope people walk away with when they come to this event? When they go home, when they walk out the door, what do you want to have them have in their minds as they get back in the car to head home?
Well, I really want them to be inspired to go out into their communities and talk about the disease of addiction, because talk will eliminate the stigma. And I mean, it's a simple solution. And so I really want them to, because really every time I speak to someone, I challenge them to talk to 3 people that day and ask those three people to talk to 3 people. And, just a grassroots movement where people are collectively trying to eliminate the stigma, because it's the stigma that holds people back from reaching out for help. And, people have, long sort of miserable lives. I had a long time struggling with my addiction because I didn't reach out for help because I was ashamed because of the stigma.
As First Lady, you referred to it right there, but you've made this issue your top platform and priority. You've been pretty open about your personal struggle with addiction, too, as part of this work. Tell us about your story.
Well, as I said, I knew for a long time. I knew in high school that I had, I didn't drink like others. I had my first blackout when I was in high school, and struggled for many years after that. I had forward movement in my life, and I, was able to progress, but I knew that I couldn't reach my full potential with my disease and addiction holding me back. So, there finally became a time. I mean, I relapsed for 8 years, and a lot of people sort of give up, struggling when you struggle like that. And I don't know, my higher power kept asking me to put on my boots and try again. And then, and so I found a program that's, built on a foundation of gratitude, helping others and a higher power. And that's really what has helped me be where I am today. So, and literally, this is never a place I thought I would be. Never thought I'd be first lady. Never thought I'd be talking about my story. But, I think there's a reason why I ended up, I'll get a little emotional, but, as first lady,
it is.
because this door opened and, I had the opportunity to interact at a federal level, a national level, and a state level. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
It's been so much fun to see you getting those high-level stages and some pretty big audiences in Washington, D.C. and around the country, too. So we're so happy that you're doing what you're doing as well. You've touched on something that I think is really important that we don't hear very often, and that is keep trying. Because I think a lot of times people feel like, I've got a problem, I'll always have it, and there's not much hope out there. You talked about one of your guests, Dr. McDonald, 16 times, yourself, 8 years in relapse, and that's part of the message, isn't it? We have got to keep fighting.
Yeah, I mean, addiction, people, need to really understand addiction is a relapsing disease, and the thing about this disease versus like the chronic disease of diabetes, people don't get instructions from their doctor and say, okay, follow these 30 days, do this diet, do this exercise. And, if you don't stick to that for 30 days, we're going to give up on you. I mean, that doesn't happen with with diabetes, but with, the disease of addiction, it's just it's a brain disease, and it impacts the way you think. And you end up thinking that the highest priority in your life is the addiction and the only choices are drugs and alcohol. So it takes a while to reprogram the brain and then we have this great program called Peer Support Specialists in North Dakota. This is a program, an initiative we're sort of doubling down on because it's a way to reach everyone in our state. These are people with lived experience, both behavioral health and addiction, and they become basically coaches for people that are in recovery. And that getting it with the people that have that lived experience is one way to really ensure success, especially bridging the gap between treatment and recovery.
So in preparation for this big event, you're requesting selfie videos of people expressing how they reinvented recovery. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we really want we want to see the faces and voices of recovery. Because people end up thinking that people with addiction, they have this image. Everybody has an image, it may be a homeless person or it's, and really the faces and voices of recovery are the everyday people, like all of us. And so we want people to submit their videos of how addiction has impacted their lives. It really can just be anything. You don't have to do anything special about reinventing recovery. It can be, I've got a son that struggled and here's where he is, or, I'm struggling and I'm still relapsing, but I'm going to keep trying. It's whatever the story is and of how addiction impacts someone's life.
Kathryn, I've heard you say, I think to me and Scott Hannon once when we were visiting with you, you said, I never thought of myself as kind of this out front person leading this big crusade or campaign. I'm kind of more of a behind the scenes kind of person, but congratulations for what you have done. It takes courage when things don't come easily, but because of it, you've got people thinking and talking about things that we need to hear, we need to talk about, and you're making a big difference for people. So I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Like I said, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. And I think I have my husband to thank for this. So initially when he was like, I'm going to run for governor, I'm like, what? And now I'm like, so grateful.
Yeah. Well, good for you. I hope all goes well. I know you'll get a big turnout. You can go online to recoveryreinvented.com. There's a social media page, too, for Facebook at RecoveryND, and Twitter is the same thing, RecoveryND. So check that out and make plans to head out there as well, Tuesday, November 12th in Bismarck. Kathryn Helgaas Burgum, thank you for coming by. So great to see you again.
Thanks so much, Steve. Thanks for helping us spread the word about it.
You got it. Glad to do it. All right, that'll do it for our program today. We've got...